Okay. So for this week, we have to discuss the at-will contract and exceptions. So the first question is, can somebody explain employment at will and the exceptions, with emphasis on the exceptions?
Employment at will, that's just where basically the law in America is like they can fire you without reason, essentially. I'm not sure about the other question.
So
yeah, it's just that an employee, it also gives the employee an opportunity to quit at any time.
That's true.
Without notice too.
Yeah.
So it's two ways. The exceptions are you can't fire an employee for let's see, what was it? Not for something about an illegal act. I can't remember. Let me scroll through.
Yeah, the violation of public policy or something.
Yes, and then the breach of implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing, and then a breach of implied contract. Those were the three exceptions that I noticed.
And also, I think something about discrimination.
Yeah.
Oh, and there was a notice requirement too.
Yeah, so I think that lesson wants us to really study the exceptions and to be sure what is the different kind of exceptions that apply in that week contract. And then we have to talk about the case study. I mean, what should the manager do about Phil and Terry?
Oh, Phil and Terry.
So the first question is, what impact does Terry have on the company's bottom line?
Well, I think it was, from her opinion, it was pretty well stated that he was just drawing a paycheck. He didn't actually contribute a whole lot because I think his work was all generated by asking other people how they would do it, or so he was just basically writing it up. But I don't know. So I think he was just filling a space but it wasn't necessary. That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah, I agree.
And I mean, Phil didn't have any skills that anybody else there had.
Yeah.
Right. He was just hired on because he was their friend, essentially.
Yeah.
And even all the interviewers, when they interviewed him, or when the board or whatever, and they were all like, no, you can't hire this guy. But they hired him anyway. With the other guy, though, like, I don't know, I felt like super bad. I was like, really, you're gonna consider firing this guy who just found out he had like liver cancer or something, like,
yeah,
and he has like a daughter, and I mean, yeah, they had to absorb him legally, and if they fire him, I could see that as a huge liability because he could turn that around and say, oh, you're firing me because you don't want to pay me disability, or you're firing me because you don't, or it's discrimination. So I don't know.
Yeah. And the other question is, what obligations does the manager have to the company based on that information?
Yeah, go ahead, Colt.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, it's clear cut that Terry, I mean, he just shouldn't be working there. I mean, especially if none of the interviewers thought he should be hired, then it's not like they're just dropping him off hanging out to dry. I mean, his performance reviews aren't showing that he's performing at the level that they need. And it seems like everybody kind of agrees with it, except for the head, like vice presidents and managers, because they like him. But they don't really know how he performs. They just know him as a person and like him. So I mean, he's just not a good fit. So I think they have an obligation to keep the company running smoothly. And I mean, what's the manager's name again?
I don't think they ever said, because the other one was Rachel.
Okay. Oh, that's right. But like, it seemed like she, I think it was a she. She really tried to help and work with him, you know. So it's
Yeah.
not like, oh, he's just not good. We're just gonna kind of put him to the side and let him fail. I mean, she tried to make sure that they were performing to the best that she could help them, but I mean, it just never really worked out. And so I think once that point comes, you've got to push or shove and get rid of them if they're not doing what they are there to do.
Well, I think as a manager, she also has an obligation, which I think she fulfilled, to give an honest evaluation. The problem is that Rachel was not giving an honest evaluation because she was consistently rating him higher, and whether she was doing that to kind of appease managers above her, or I don't know what that was, but now it kind of puts this new manager it makes it hard for the company, because now the company can look at it as like, well, he's been fine up until your management.
Yeah.
So that also creates another liability. Whereas if Rachel had consistently given him low marks or whatever, they could say, well, he's just consistently a low performer. I don't know. Does that make sense? So that kind of gives another, I don't know. It makes it a little bit harder.
Yeah,
So
but I think. Yeah, but I think that everybody in the company knows that Terry makes no contribution at all. So I think it's gonna be hard for the new manager. I mean, for her, but I think that it's everybody knows in the company that Terry is not working very well.
But I think only the people that work with Terry know that. I don't think the
Okay.
people above him are even aware of that, because I think it's, I don't know, from my reading, it seemed like some of the upper managers were surprised, like, oh, well, he's always gotten good. So I don't know. I agree. I think he needs to be probably fired, but I think it makes it hard. So for me, the thing that I learned was kind of like, oh, we need to give honest evaluations, even if we're trying to be really nice and helpful. We still have to be honest, so that their work actually reflects, I don't know, so that when these situations come up, you can actually say, well, you know, he's a good person and we've been trying to help him, but consistently his performance is a 2.5, not a 3.5. I don't know. Just something I was thinking about.
Okay, so next question is, based on what we have learned about employment at will and exceptions, what legal obligations could the manager have to Terry and Phil?
I think kind of like what I said earlier with Phil, at least. Aren't they kind of required by law maybe to pay him disability?
Mm-hmm.
And if they fired him, that could look really bad. Like we discriminated against him and fired him because he had this liver problem.
Yeah.
So I think there's kind of a fine line with that. With Terry, I'm not sure if they would have any real legal problems unless he signed some sort of contract.
Yeah.
Maybe age discrimination. I don't remember how old is he, but
no, I mean like discrimination against him because
okay,
he was sick, like he had liver problems.
Oh, and Phil, yeah.
Like they didn't want to pay him disability, or do you know what I mean? Like it could. And all his other performance reviews were fine except for this manager. It just could look like, I imagine that he could very easily take that to court and it would appeal. I mean not appeal, but
yeah,
it would win.
It does seem like there could be a lot of, I don't know, Phil seems like
yeah.
like that, like an HR nightmare.
Yeah.
Just because, I don't know, yeah, especially where they have obviously he's well liked. I think he's well liked and he has some potential. I think it's just, like she said, the managers don't really care for him, so they kind of want to
Yeah,
let
that's
him
another
go.
thing too. Hmm.
Whereas the managers actually like the other guy, Terry, and don't see an issue with his performance. So I don't know, interesting.
Yeah, because another question is making a difference between legal obligations and ethical obligations. So what ethical obligations does the manager have to the company, to other employees, and to herself?
Yeah.
Oops.
Well, the other thing that I was thinking about with Terry, the guy who's been, I don't know if there legally is any, I don't know what the word, sorry. I don't know, but I thought it was interesting where he's gotten like, I don't know if he's gotten raises or promotions. It doesn't sound like he's gotten any promotions, but where he's gotten fairly good, consistent performance reviews. I don't know, does that play into the breach of implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing, where he all of a sudden they're like, oh, I don't know, because it's like, well, it says that there's like an implied, if you're getting good performance reviews and pay raises, that there's kind of this implied contract that you have.
Mhm.
That's true. Yeah.
What do you
I
guys
didn't
think?
about
I don't know.
that. No,
Well,
I
I
agree with you. I
Yeah.
didn't think about that implied contract. If he's getting bonuses and
And I don't know if he is, but it's like, well, if you're getting a good performance review, you usually think like, oh, I'm doing a good job. They must be happy with me. And, you know,
right.
so then all of a sudden to get this 2.5. So I don't know.
Right.
That's why I'm like, oh, I think that she'll kind of have a long road ahead of her of trying to establish that he really is not a good employee before she can actually take any action. I don't know. Maybe not.
No, I agree.
Okay, so next thing we have to move an analysis of companies' human resource practices, and it's asking us how well is the company in the case doing with its human resource practices. How do they hire, and how do they manage people and give them feedback?
Mm-hmm.
Or what about this PIP system that they have?
I mean, I like that they do performance reviews. I mean, it's a little, I mean, it does probably keep those employees pretty motivated. For the PIP system, that's basically like they can fire you. What's the PIP again?
The
Performance improvement or
performance improvement plan.
Is that where they go through like a training
Yeah.
before they? Okay, yeah.
Well,
Then I mean,
and they're like micromanaged.
Yeah.
I could see
Well,
good things and bad things about that.
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, yeah.
I was gonna say it seems like their system is pretty, like they said, you only put someone on a PIP if you want to fire them. Like, so it's kind of like, even though it's this performance improvement plan, it really
Isn't.
they don't care about performance
Yeah.
improvement. If you're on this, it's so that they can, I
Fire
don't
you.
know, kind of like in the doohickey, just so they can fire you. They have backing. But so I don't know. I feel like it's not really a performance improvement plan. It's just kind of like a one more check on the box on your way out.
Right.
So I don't know. They could probably change that.
They need to improve their employment.
Yeah, because right now it's like a really negative thing. Like, hey, you're like blacklisted if you're on a PIP, but whereas if you're on a PIP, it could just be a step towards getting you back to being in good status with the. I don't know. Does that make sense?
I agree. Yeah,
So
there wasn't so much negative,
yeah,
connotation with that. I feel like it would be a lot better.
It is a very negative thing.
Yeah, so the next question is, do you agree with the way the company used PIP? So we said no.
No.
Yeah,
No.
I would not
We
agree.
don't agree.
No, I would say there's some improvement that could happen there.
And next question, do you think this manager can make good decisions about these two individuals, or does she seem to be influenced by biases that will be hard to overcome?
Does she have biases? I think she has some pretty. She seems pretty biased on the way. I don't know. I think she even says it. We all have biases, but she talks about the way she hires, and she likes to hire younger people who are very technical and analytical, and well, she only hires people that are like her. So I don't know. I think it's hard. I don't know if she's wrong or right. I think, but
it's hard when you only get her story and not anybody else's.
Yeah.
It is true.
Because if you look at it from her, oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I feel like in the discipline without punishment program, like you'd sit them down when it became more formal and more serious. I think it was like step 3 and 4, where you'd sit them down and you'd have a serious conversation about what they need to do to improve. And then their side, because that was the main point of it, is hearing their side of the story, so it's not just blame from others, and being able to hear where they're coming from and then documenting all of it, so that it's kind of, this is what the employee said they're going to do to improve, and then you can kind of follow up on that. That way the employee has a responsibility to perform better or do something that they've committed themselves to do. And I don't know, I feel like that helps a lot when you can have a formal conversation and discuss what needs to happen, and the employee kind of sets their own expectations and goals. And then it's documented, of course. But I don't know.
Yeah, so next step is final decision. Ask this person in your group to commit to a decision about what the manager should do with respect to Phil and Terry. So each person has to tell me what decision the manager should take.
I think probably Terry, at least from her perspective, should probably be fired, or she needs to try to work on that, like letting him go, or maybe finding a different spot for him in the company. As far as Phil, I don't think he should be let go. I think, like, maybe not a PPI, obviously, or PIT, but I don't know if there was some other training that he could go through once, his health improves, or I don't know. Or just, he's going to be on disability soon anyway, right? So,
yeah.
I don't know. I would keep Phil, I think. I don't know, maybe that's just, like, the guilt, though. Like, man, you're going to, like, fire someone? Like, I don't think I could do that. But
yeah, I don't know. I think I agree with that.
So do you want to fire Terry?
I would say yes. But I don't know what you guys think.
So, I don't know. I think with Phil, he came back to work. I mean, and it says his performance is even worse than before.
Yeah.
So he's clearly underperforming. And I don't know. Yeah, they talk about this policy where if you haven't been promoted in 3 years, then they can just automatically fire you. So, and he's been there 6 years without a promotion. I don't know. Are there alternatives to just firing him? Could they do something different? What do you guys? I don't know. I'm with Kaylee. I'm like, I'm having a hard time with this guy.
yeah.
Were they talking about, I can't remember which one, they said like possibly finding a different position. Yeah, I think it was Terry he was talking to about finding a different position within the company where he can still be helpful but not have to lose his job. I mean, that could be an option with feel as well to find something where his skills are.
Yeah, more useful.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh,
Harry just seems.
yeah, I know it is a hard decision
He's
to.
I wouldn't feel really that bad about just. I don't know. That's
Yeah, and poor Phil. At least he tries to work. He tried. But well, okay. So next thing is that now we're gonna read the second part of this case.
oh good.
We have about 10 minutes to read the second part.
Oh.
Where is that?
It's just a little bit down from the other one. It says Part B,
Okay.
in
So
the
it's
content section. I think it's.
So do I have to stop the broadcast and come back, or
no, I think we'll just have to,
we fine? Okay.
yeah, I don't think it matters. Because you'll have to start a whole new one if you stop this one.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, don't do it.
Okay.
Now, is this what she ended up doing? Is that what?
Yeah.
Pull it up.
Where is this? I still can't
Oh,
find it.
sorry. It's Part 2, so it's 12.07.
Okay. I was on 12.3. I'm like, what? I don't see it. Okay, 12.7. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready whenever.
Me too.
Me 3.
Okay. Give me a second. I'm back. So how did the manager do well? What do you think?
I mean, it's good that Terry ended up, in like an engineering position at a different company. I think that was ultimately best for him.
Yeah, and I'm sure he enjoyed that better.
Yeah.
I think it was a really respectful approach with Terry, just to, give him that time, go find another job. He was respectful enough not to put him on PIP so that he wasn't, always being micromanaged and looked at. And I think Terry respected that as well and accepted that that was probably a good fit for him to look for a different job, and eventually he found one better. So, I mean, I think it worked out for everybody.
Yeah, I like that she sorry, my child is walking through. Distracting. I like that she kind of just put it on him though. Like he kind of got to feel like he wasn't getting fired, but he was trying to find a job, couldn't, so he was leaving on his own terms. So I don't know. I thought that was good. Like give some people some dignity. I don't know. Like I think her perspective was right on. Like he's not a good fit for what he's doing here. But obviously, he was very successful at engineering because he was promoted to manager there really quickly.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I think we have to remember that, like, just because people aren't performing well where they're at now doesn't mean that they're not going to perform well somewhere else. So I don't know. I thought that was good
Right.
that she was like, "Hey, I don't want to like totally make you unmarked, damaged goods here by putting you on this PIP. So like, let's see what other options we can have." I don't know. I thought that was pretty.
Yeah.
That was good. And then poor Phil.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's awful. I was
It's
like,
terrible.
that's an awful ending.
But it's a good ending for him. I mean, I think
I mean, he died.
heartless
So,
to like just put him out on his own.
yeah.
I thought it was
Yeah.
good that the company could still, find us. I don't know. It probably was,
Place for him.
yeah, financially the most savvy decision, but I think that, as far as morale, we're not in HR. You're looking at a lot more than just numbers. So I think
Yeah.
Yeah.
as far as employee, that would have all the other employees would have been worried about getting sick or having something happen to them had that been his fate.
Yeah.
Do you think that there's a part that the manager could do differently? Like, it's asking me, what did she do that was not effective? Do you think that she did something that wasn't effective at all?
I feel like she's a little. Sometimes I feel like she can be blunt, but almost too blunt. And I think in the other readings we talked about how it's important to maintain that, but also like have some sort of sympathy. And I feel like she showed that with Terry. But in some of her other, just like her whole attitude during the reading, you could tell she was just very to the point, and she just said it really, really like it was. And I feel like maybe to some people that could come off as a little harsh.
Yeah.
And even if it is the truth. So maybe if she just like lessened her tone just a little bit, I don't know.
Agreed. Yeah,
I'm still learning to do that.
Yeah.
What did you say, Myra? I didn't hear you.
It is hard, but I in my case, I'm still learning to do that, to be a little bit like more.
Oh.
Direct, Myra.
Yeah, kind of.
You just be like, Heather sucks. I never heard you say that on the paper. You should have. Yeah, I would agree with Kaylee. I think she does really well in all areas, and if there's a place for improvement, it probably would be in how she interacts with people. Just her, because she is very factual, and all the things she's saying are correct. I think she just doesn't have a lot of tact sometimes, probably in the way she says it.
Yeah,
Yes.
I agree with both of you.
Okay, so what can we learn from this case about making decisions about termination?
It's hard.
Yes.
It's never easy. Yeah,
But I think the thing that I learned is that there's a lot of different, like, it's not always like keep or throw away. It's like I think there's a lot of alternative methods
Options.
that options that can really benefit the employer and the employee, like with this Terry situation. Like that was a great outcome for everyone. One, they got rid of Terry, and two, Terry got a job that he probably loves and he can be successful at. And so I think just looking at it in different terms, I don't know, like it's not always fire, not fire, but maybe
Mhm.
alternative
yeah.
options.
And I even think, I don't know, it never would have crossed my mind to help them find a different job within the company, like to move to a different department. I mean, in my mind, it's just like go find a job elsewhere instead of helping them find one in house.
Yeah.
I think that was really good. But
Yeah.
Well, and I think it kind of reinforced the fact that like what they were doing here at the company, in his mind, wasn't where he fit in. So I think it was even more motivating for him to find something outside.
yeah, exactly.
I
Kind
think
of help
kind
them
of
see why.
gives him, he's like more in the driver's seat because it's not like they're firing him. He's actually like, I can't find a new job here. So, I don't know. Just gave him more control. And I think
Mhm.
people respect, I don't know, people like to be in charge of their lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one more question is to ask you to think about what you have learned that you could apply in a future situation like this. I don't want to be in a situation like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think just kind of to reiterate, I mean, what you guys said, just that, firing isn't the only alternative. And that's what I learned. Like if you're in a management position and there's other options.
Yeah, and I like the way that she handled the whole situation in a very human, very personal way. So it's not, as Paul said, it's not her problem anymore to help that person find a job and do all the things, but she was there. And at the end, I think she's proud of what she did because the guy has a new job and he was promoted and everything. So I think I think they are still friends, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
they are friends.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I like that, and I think that I would like to apply the uh, how do you say it? That attitude to then if I have to fire somebody, I want to keep them like my friends because they are good person, so they are not doing good at this kind of job, but as Heather said, they have a lot of talents. I mean,
Yeah. I think the thing that I learned was kind of like I'm more of like the bleeding heart, beat around the bush, sugarcoat it kind of person, and that's probably something I liked how she was direct with him and was like, "Hey, your performance isn't good, and I want to help you, but I don't want to put you on this PIP because it's demeaning." I don't know. I thought that was good because she was
Mhm.
very direct, very honest with him, but still, I felt like she kept it like kind of personal, like, hey, I'm trying to help you out here, but she
Right.
like, oh, I don't know, because that's totally how I would have done. I'm like, it's just not a good fit.
Yeah.
No,
Well, with Terry,
I could use
yeah.
more directness in my life.
Right.
So
No, I think she did a good job with Terry. I just think that like her like the whole sorry, just I wasn't saying like she did a bad job firing Terry, but like
no,
her attitude during the whole story I felt like was very direct, and I could
yeah,
see that.
that's what I thought too. So that was interesting to me that even though that was her feeling, like
mhm.
ability to interact with him was still in a positive way, which I was like, okay, because I think we all feel like that. We're all pretty blunt in our heads about things, but when it comes out of our mouth. But I thought she was able to translate that. So I'm totally on board with you, Kaylee, like too. I was like, dang, she's so harsh. but she
Yeah.
really kind of reined it in and did it in an appropriate way when she
Right.
talked. So I thought that was, I don't know, that was just good for me to learn.
Yeah.
And also I like the way that they work with Phil. I think she took the whole team to do some kind of job at his house and something like that, right? So
Yeah.
Party or
yeah, for me it's like, oh, it's a good way. Not only Mormons can serve, everybody can serve each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I thought that was pretty good. Like when they went and like helped him with his garden and stuff. I was kind of impressed by that. So yeah.
Yeah.
So does anybody want to add something to our discussion today? Because we're pretty much done. Yeah, that was the final question.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think her approach seemed like, I don't know, maybe I'm biased, but I was like, I think it was pretty good because it's like she solved the problem in both ways, but they were both very different. So I think that's, I mean, one, I don't know, I think it's good managing
Yeah,
because I don't know, the outcomes were very different. And I think that's the other thing that's good. You have to be flexible and look at each individual situation and tailor your response to that. So I think we're good. I think
Yeah.
this is a good lesson. I like this one.
yeah. It was an
Yeah.
easy read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the story problems rather than
Mhm.
Yeah. It's easier when there's kind of a case study.
instead of a role play, or how do you say?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so I think that's it. Thank you very much for your participation. As always, awesome to work with you guys.
Hey, if you want to stop the recording, we could talk
Yeah.
to Katie about the paper.
Okay, I'm gonna stop it right now.